300 wasn't a boast. It was a weight. And when she said it, the Admiral's smile froze like glass in the sun. They were standing outside a coastal veterans outreach center at noon, the kind of bright day that makes shadows sharp and truths sharper. The Admiral had stopped only because the cameras were nearby. Community day, handshakes, ribbon cutting. The woman sat on the curb with a paper cup and a threadbare jacket, her boots cracked, her posture straight despite the hunger in her eyes. He chuckled, voice loud enough for the small crowd to hear, and asked her service record like it was a punchline. She looked up once, calm, unblinking, and answered him. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The Admiral laughed again, reflexively. Then he noticed the silence. Even the gulls seemed to pause. The woman's hands were steady around the cup, though the coffee inside rippled as a truck passed. She hadn't raised her voice. She didn't need to. 300 settled between them, like a tide pulling back before a wave. People shifted. A volunteer stopped mid-step. A veteran with a cane squinted at the woman's forearms, at the faint lattice of scars that looked less like accidents and more like maps. The Admiral felt the air change, felt the heat on his neck. He asked her unit, still smiling, still trying to keep the joke alive. She named it, quietly, precisely, a designation most people never heard and fewer understood. A murmur moved through the crowd. She hadn't always been here. Once, she'd been sunlight slicing through jungle haze, the calm center in chaos. She'd learned early how fear makes noise, and focus makes none. Orders had come and gone, friends had not. When the war ended, the world didn't know what to do with what she'd become, and neither did she. Paperwork misplaced, promises thinned, a medal mailed to the wrong address. The street was honest, if nothing else. The Admiral felt a prickle of doubt. He tried again, softer now, asked about deployments. She listed dates, locations, names that made a retired sergeant in the back inhale sharply. Someone dropped a pamphlet. It fluttered, slapped the pavement, and lay there like a white flag. She thought she'd never see him again. The woman remembered, thinking of a commander who'd once told her survival was a skill, not a sin. She was wrong. A young officer stepped forward, respectful but firm, asking permission to check records. The Admiral nodded too quickly. Phones came out. The sun glinted off screens as calls were made. The woman stared at the ocean beyond the parking lot, listening to the wind move through the flags overhead. Each snap sounded like a heartbeat. Minutes stretched. Sweat traced the Admiral's spine. The crowd grew. Neighbors leaned from doorways. Veterans drew closer, a quiet ring forming. Then a car arrived. Then another. Uniforms filled the edge of the lot like a tide, boots aligning without instruction. A captain saluted, not the Admiral, but her. It was small. It was everything. Confirmation came in pieces, like thunder after lightning. Classified tallies, after-action reports. A service record sealed so tight it had vanished with her. 300 wasn't bravado. It was arithmetic done in the dark. Moral tension tightened its grip. Should the past define mercy now? Should honor arrive late and loud? The Admiral swallowed, the joke dead, apology forming and failing. He offered help, housing, benefits. She studied his face, saw sincerity wrestling with shame. She nodded once, not for him, for the others watching who needed to believe the system could still bend. The uniforms didn't cheer. They moved as one, coordinated and gentle, clearing space, offering water, shade, a chair. The crowd exhaled. Someone clapped, then stopped, unsure. The woman stood, the sun bright on her shoulders, and the curb felt smaller behind her. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it corrects its posture. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And under the same bright sky where she'd been laughed at, her truth finally stood. If this story moved you, share where you're listening from, and what moment stayed with you. Subscribe for more stories like this, told with heart, respect, and the belief that every life has chapters worth hearing.